Tabula Rogeriana. The Al-Idrisi map, or Tabula Rogeriana, is one of the most famous world maps created by Muslim scientist Muhammad al-Idrisi in 1154. The map was compiled at the request of King Roger II of Sicily, and was the result of collecting extensive geographical knowledge from various sources, including Arabic, Greek, and European texts. Al-Idrisi spent more than 15 years compiling this map, which reflects the highly advanced understanding of geography of his time. It depicts the world as it was known at the time in detail, covering more than 70 countries and territories, as well as more than 300 cities. Al-Idrisi used a south orientation at the top of the map, which was customary in the Islamic tradition, in contrast to the Western custom of placing north at the top. The map is not only accurate in terms of geography, but also includes mythological and spiritual elements that reflect the beliefs of the people of the time. One of the interesting aspects of Tabula Rogeriana is that it gives the exact position of the place where Ya'juj and Ma'juj, or Gog and Magog, are confined. These are two mysterious tribes that are mentioned in Islamic religious texts and will be released to cause world chaos ahead of the apocalypse. The inclusion of these elements shows how the map serves not only as a navigational tool, but also as a representation of a larger worldview in which geography and spirituality are intertwined. Harford Mapamundi. The Harford Mapamundi is a famous 13th century map created around 1300 and currently housed in Hereford Cathedral, England. It is a classic example of a world map that reflects the Christian worldview of the time. With a large size of about 1.58 by 1.34 meters, the map serves not only as a navigational tool, but also as a theological and symbolic document rich in meaning. It depicts the world with Jerusalem at its center, reflecting the belief that this holy city is the focal point of all creation. The map is divided into three main sections: Asia, Europe, and Africa, with geographical elements arranged symbolically. Although not geographically accurate, the Harford Mapamundi provides a deep insight into how people of the time understood their world. One of the most interesting features of this map is the depiction of mythological and religious elements. For example, the Garden of Eden is depicted in the east, and various mythical creatures such as unicorns and griffins are featured in various locations. This shows that the map serves not only to show physical locations, but also to convey moral and spiritual messages. These elements reflect the belief that the physical and spiritual worlds are intertwined and that geography cannot be separated from theology. The Harford Mapamundi also includes many historical accounts and legends, including important events in Christian history, such as the travels of the apostles and stories from the Bible. Ebstorf Map. The Ebstorf Map is a famous medieval map created around 1300 and is currently one of the most significant examples of a world map illustrating the theological and cosmological views of the time. The map was originally found in the Ebstorf Monastery in Germany, and although the original map was destroyed during World War II, copies and descriptions of this map still provide valuable insights into the way people of the time understood the world. The Ebstorf map depicts the world as the body of Christ with Jerusalem at its center. This concept reflects the belief that the entire creation is part of the divine body, and this map serves as a profound spiritual symbol. In this representation, different regions and countries are depicted as part of the body of Christ, showing the connection between geography and theology. This creates a deeply religious worldview where every location has spiritual and moral significance. So, one of the most striking features of the Ebstorf map is the use of symbolic and mythological elements. The map includes various mythical creatures such as dragons and monsters, which reflect the fears and beliefs of the people of the time. In addition, the map also depicts various events from the Bible, including stories from the Old and New Testaments, showing how history and faith are intertwined in their understanding of the world. The Ebstorf map also includes information about important locations, such as holy places and historical cities, showing how it served as an educational tool for the people of the time. By combining geographical and spiritual elements, the map helped people understand their place in a larger context, both physically and spiritually. Fra Maro Map. The Fra Maro Map, created by a Venetian monk named Fra Maro around 1450, is one of the most famous and influential maps of the 15th century. It is considered one of the greatest achievements in the history of cartography, combining extensive knowledge of geography with mythological and theological elements. The map was originally created for King Alfonso V of Aragon and was the result of extensive research and observation of the known world at the time. Fra Maro's map depicts the world in a round shape with a southern orientation at the top, reflecting the Islamic map tradition. The map includes very rich details, including information about different countries, cities, and geographical features, as well as important trade routes. One of the interesting aspects of this map is the accurate representation of newly discovered territories, such as parts of Africa and Asia, which shows the advancement of geographical knowledge at the time. However, what makes the Fra Maro map truly unique is its incorporation of spiritual and mythological elements. The map serves not only as a navigational tool, but also as a reflection of a larger worldview in which geography and spirituality are intertwined. For example, the map includes references to various myths and legends, as well as depictions of holy places and important events in Christian history. This shows how the people of the time understood the relationship between the physical and spiritual worlds. Fra Maro also includes detailed notes and descriptions of various regions, reflecting knowledge gained from sailors, merchants, and explorers. This map served as a valuable source of information for sailors and scientists, helping them to understand a wider and more complex world. Tabula Pinana. The Tabula Pinana is a road map depicting the road network of the Roman Empire and is one of the most important maps from antiquity that still exists today. It is thought to have been created in the 4th century AD, although the sources used to compile it date back to an earlier period. The map is named after Conrad Peutinger, a German humanist who discovered and published it in the 16th century. The map has a large size, about 7.5 meters long and 34 centimeters wide, and is arranged in a scroll format. The Tabula Pinana does not depict the world as a whole, but rather focuses on the main routes connecting important cities in the Roman Empire, including Rome, Constantinople, and various cities along the Mediterranean and Europe. The map shows road networks, distances between cities, and important locations such as rest stops, temples, and water sources. One of the interesting aspects of the Tabula Pinana is the way it depicts the world in a highly symbolic way. It does not follow the principles of perspective and accurate proportions, but rather emphasizes the relationships between important locations. This reflects the Roman view of the world, where infrastructure and connectivity take center stage. The map also includes mythological and historical elements, such as depictions of monsters and mythical creatures in certain locations, showing how beliefs and folklore influenced their understanding of geography. The Tabula Pinana serves as a very important source for understanding Roman infrastructure and how the people of the time interacted with their environment. The map provides insight into trade routes, military journeys, and the spread of culture throughout the Roman Empire. As such, the map serves not only as a navigational tool, but also as a historical document that reflects the complexity and progress of Roman civilization. T&O Map. The T&O map is a symbolic representation of the world popular in the Middle Ages, which appeared around the 7th to 13th centuries. The map is so named because of its shape that resembles the letter T located inside the letter O. In this map, a large circle, O, symbolizes the world as a whole, while vertical and horizontal lines, T, divide the map into 3 main sections: Asia, Europe, and Africa. Jerusalem is often placed at the center of the map, reflecting the Christian worldview that places this holy city as the focal point of all creation. The T and O maps were not intended to be used as accurate navigational tools, but rather as symbolic representations that reflected the theological and cosmological understanding of the people of the time. These maps depict the world as an organized and structured place where each region has spiritual and moral significance. For example, Asia is often depicted at the top of the map, symbolizing the origin of civilization and the place where many important events in biblical history took place. One of the distinctive features of these maps is the use of mythological and symbolic elements. TNO maps often include images of mythical creatures, monsters, and religious symbols that reflect the beliefs of the people of the time. This shows that these maps serve not only to show physical locations, but also to convey deeper moral and spiritual messages. It also reflects a highly religious-centered worldview where geography and theology are intertwined. In this context, the T and O maps served as educational tools, helping people of the time understand the relationship between the physical and spiritual worlds. By placing Jerusalem at the center, the map reminded people of the importance of faith and spirituality in everyday life. Catalan Atlas. The Catalan Atlas is one of the most famous navigational maps of the Middle Ages, created in 1375 by Abraham Cresques, a cartographer and astronomer from Mallorca, Spain. The map is a monumental work depicting the known world of the time and is an outstanding example of the fusion between art, science, and mythology. The Catalan Atlas is composed in scroll form and is large in size with rich detail and striking colors. The map depicts various regions, including Europe, Asia, and Africa, as well as the major trade routes that connected the various regions. One of the most striking features of the Catalan Atlas is its highly detailed depiction of the Mediterranean Sea, which was a vital trade route at the time. The map also includes information on important cities, ports, and holy places, and records mythological and religious elements that reflect the beliefs of the people of the time. One interesting aspect of the Catalan Atlas is the representation of mythological elements, including depictions of Gog and Magog, which are characters in Islamic and Christian traditions that are considered symbols of chaos and threat. The map also features various mythical creatures and monsters, showing how beliefs and folklore influence their understanding of geography. This creates a complex worldview where physical reality and mythology interact. The Catalan Atlas also served as an educational tool, providing useful information for sailors and merchants traveling to new territories. The maps included notes on weather conditions, ocean currents, and other important information that could aid in navigation. As such, the Catalan Atlas served not only as a beautiful work of art, but also as an invaluable source of practical knowledge. Mandala Map. The Mandala map is a symbolic representation of Buddhist cosmology that depicts the universe in a highly philosophical and spiritual form. Mandala, which is derived from Sanskrit meaning circle, is used in the Buddhist tradition as a tool of meditation and spiritual depiction. It is not meant to be used as an accurate geographical map, but rather as a visual representation of profound Buddhist teachings and principles. Mandala maps usually consist of a circle surrounded by a square, with various elements representing important aspects of Buddhism. At the center of the mandala is often an image of the Buddha or deities, symbolizing enlightenment and ultimate awareness. The outer circle may depict various worlds or dimensions, including the physical and spiritual worlds and the relationship between the two. In this context, the mandala serves as a spiritual map showing the journey to enlightenment. One of the interesting aspects of the Buddhist mandala map is the use of symbols that are rich in meaning. Each element in the mandala has a specific meaning, and their arrangement reflects Buddhist principles such as connectedness, balance, and harmony. For example, the four directions, north, south, east, and west, are often represented in mandalas, reflecting the Buddhist view of the whole and unity of the universe. Mandalas are also used in meditation and ritual practices, where practitioners can contemplate the symbolic meaning of each element. The process of creating a mandala, which often involves the use of colored sand, is also considered a form of meditation in itself. Upon completion, the mandala is usually destroyed as a symbol of impermanence and to remind practitioners that everything is temporary. Hindu Cosmology Map. Hindu cosmology maps are symbolic representations of the universe that reflect the worldview in the Hindu tradition. These maps not only depict physical geography, but also include deep spiritual and philosophical elements, creating a complex picture of the relationship between humans, gods, and the universe. In the Hindu tradition, cosmology is often described through various sacred texts, such as the Puranas, and represented in the form of mandalas or diagrams that show the structure of the universe. One of the most important elements in the Hindu cosmological map is Mount Meru, which is considered the center of the universe. Mount Meru is a spiritual symbol that symbolizes the axis of the world, the place where the gods dwell and where everything comes from. In many representations, Mount Meru is surrounded by oceans, islands, and different worlds that reflect different levels of existence, from the physical world to the spiritual world. This map also includes the concept of the three worlds: Swarga, heaven; Martya, human world; and Patala, underworld. Each world has different characteristics and beings, reflecting the hierarchy and cosmic structure in Hinduism. In this context, the cosmological map serves as a guide to understanding the soul's journey through the cycle of birth and death, samsara, and the quest to achieve moksha, or liberation from the cycle. The symbolism in Hindu cosmology maps is very rich, with many elements representing gods, mythical beings, and philosophical concepts. For example, deities such as Vishnu, Shiva, and Brahma are often depicted in the context of cosmology, showing their role in the creation, maintenance, and destruction of the universe. In addition, the map also includes various mythical creatures such as dragons and giants, which reflect the challenges and obstacles the soul faces on its spiritual journey. TMAS World Map. The TMAS World Map is one of the most influential maps in the history of cartography. Created by Claudius Ptolemaios, a Greek astronomer, mathematician, and geographer in the 2nd century AD. Ptolemaios' work, known as the Geographia, was a compilation of the existing geographical knowledge of his time, and became the basis for many maps produced later on. These maps not only served as navigational tools, but also reflected the scientific and philosophical understanding of the world at that time. Ptolemaios used an innovative coordinate system, combining latitude and longitude to describe geographical locations more accurately. In his Geographia, he listed more than 8,000 places, including cities, mountains, and rivers, and provided information on distances and directions between them. The resulting maps based on Ptolemaios' work show a spherical world with Europe, Asia, and Africa depicted proportionally. One of the interesting aspects of Ptolemaios' world map is the way it combines scientific and mythological elements. While the map strives to provide an accurate representation of the physical world, Ptolemaios also includes references to myths and legends that circulated at the time. For example, he listed locations that were considered sacred or important in Greek and Roman tradition, as well as depicting mythical creatures that were thought to inhabit certain areas. Ptolemaios' map was very influential in the development of cartography in Europe and the Islamic world. They were translated into many languages and became an important resource for sailors, explorers, and scientists for centuries. The maps produced based on the Geographia became a reference for exploration and discovery of new territories and helped shape a broader understanding of geography.